Hello viewers, and welcome to my review for Starward Rogue on the PC. And before I begin, the key for this game was given to us by Arkan Games for the purpose of review. So thank you very much, and with that said, let's begin. Now, a question you may have for me is, what exactly is Starward Rogue? And with that question, I can give you a simple answer. It's a very fun game. Imagine mixing the roguelike genre with bullet hell, and there you have this game. Starward Rogue allows you to pick from 1 out of 6 playable mechs, and once you have chosen, you then start your mission to save a robot named Rodney. And that sounds easy and all, but as roguelikes go, it really isn't. You'll find yourself in a location known as the Megalith, which is a huge facility that for whatever reason is also lodged right into a very dangerous looking star. But don't worry too much about that, since the game offers a kind yet brief tutorial to get you on your way. In this tutorial, you'll of course learn the controls, encounter a few enemies, and get a general feeling for the game. Controlling your mechanized killing machine is very simple, using the standard WASD keys for movement and your mouse and spacebar for aiming and using weaponry. Such a simple yet familiar layout is very much appreciated, and it's made even better as the playable mechs control rather well, and you can even use a controller if you want to. After the tutorial, the real challenge begins, and this is where we find the meat of the game. Starward Rogue is definitely a chaotic game, for sure, but that's not me bringing it down. In fact, that's a good point. First of all, levels are procedurally generated, which means you have no clue what you may find when starting a new playthrough. This translates to locations of enemies, power-ups, weapons, level layouts and more being different each time. That makes for a very fun and interesting experience, which actually keeps me coming back for more. Playing through these randomized levels, you'll find various different enemies that will stand in your way, and it'll be tricky as there are about 100 plus variations, and that's not accounting for bosses and mini bosses as well, all with their different attack patterns, abilities, speeds and so on. Not only will you have enemies to deal with, but also other dangers to avoid, such as bombs, barriers that the enemy can shoot through, deadly lasers, turrets with different shooting patterns and more. Now you can imagine how tough the game can get when you mix all that I just mentioned into one room. It gets really crazy at times. Even when I died, and trust me it happened a lot, I was still compelled to go back and try again, being able to experience that colourful barrage of gunfire and explosions, just itching to get to the next level or room. And as death is so bound to occur when playing Starward Rogue, I believe this is a good enough segue to now quickly talk about the difficulty of the game. And yes, Starward Rogue is a tough one. You will die a lot, and it's all thanks to the various enemies you'll face and tough environments you'll have to navigate through. There are both open sections and tight corridors, and each are as deadly as the next, making you think fast and react even faster. When you die, you of course have to start at the very beginning, and I recommend starting at normal difficulty so you can ease yourself in, but the game still proves to be a challenge, and not to forget, there are 5 difficulties for you to choose from. I also need to mention the fact that you can earn experience from killing enemies, level up your mech, earn perks, obtain health, ammo and money drops too, and you can also find and purchase newer and better weapons in the stores that are found scattered around the map. Graphically and presentation wise, the game is very appealing to me. Even though Starward Rogue was developed by a small team, they still managed to create an impressive style that sticks throughout the entire game. Everything is clean and slick and nice to look at. The only shortcomings I could think of is in regards to movement animations for the player and enemy. You only really get movement when you see the characters firing their gun or of course running. There just isn't a lot of fine details to be seen when it comes to the animations, and probably that's either a good thing or a bad one, since it isn't really that noticeable and doesn't need to be, and if it was, then it'll probably be distracting. I will very quickly talk about audio, and when it comes to the music, I was a bit conflicted because at times it was very fitting, especially during the fights with the bosses and in other enemy encounters, but most of the time I couldn't really get into that techno type track that was being played. But for the actual sounds such as gunfire, explosions and so on, they did their job and was quite satisfying to hear. Overall, Starward Rogue deserves a lot more attention. It's a very polished and fun game that'll keep you playing for hours on end till you complete it, and even then you can go back and play some more due to the random elements and different mechs you can control and the various different difficulties. I score Starward Rogue a solid 8 out of 10, and if you're a fan of roguelike games, then I beg of you to pick this one up because it shouldn't be missed. Thanks for watching this review, and if you enjoyed it, then please do stick around for future content.